Hi everyone, so as you can see I have a new background and I just want to apologise for not being here for ages because I used to borrow my dad's camera and it was a faff trying to borrow his and then set it up and find a time to film when I could actually use the camera. Now I have my own and yeah, and school has just been crazy. Like the last few months I'm in my final year of sixth form, which means next year I'll be going to uni, and it's literally been insane with the amount of work we've been given, essays. I've had weeks where I've had 4 or 5 essays to do in a week, and it's been insane and impossible to do anything else with. So I'm back. I have a Christmas December birthday book haul for you because my birthday is just after Christmas on the 29th and I went down to London shopping and naturally I went to Persephone Books and Foyles and I bought a lot of books. I also had a lot for Christmas from family because my family tend to ask what we want rather than just find gifts that we don't really want, so it's really good and I have had a huge amount from them as well. So this is a big video and I've split it up. I'm going to start with the books that I bought before Christmas, and then I'm going to move to the Christmas ones and then birthday, and we'll just see how far we get. So before Christmas I didn't buy a huge number, I just bought a few. At the very start of December I went to the Christmas market in Birmingham and they just opened the Waterstones again after redoing it, so I went there and I bought 2 poetry books. I bought The Curiosities by Christopher Reid and The Captain's Verses by Pablo Neruda, and I really like this version because it's got the Spanish on one page and then the translation in English on the other page. Now I can't read Spanish, but I just think that's really nice because one day I want to learn it and I have the translated versions, which is really good. And yeah, so I really like these 2 books. I prefer to buy poetry books in the shop so I can look through them and read a little bit and see if I like it or not. This is really annoying me. Here's to me hoping I'm in focus because that autofocus was doing my head in. So yeah, I have these 2 poetry books and they're really good. They're not very thick, but I just really like poetry and I wanted some more modern poetry. I know this is 20th century, not completely recent, but I just really liked it when I read it. I can't remember when I got this next one, when it arrived, but it's the pamphlet for the 100 Poems Challenge that Jen Campbell did. Basically she wrote 100 poems in 48 hours to raise money for a charity which helps children to learn to read in Africa, I think. I'll link her video down below so you can find out more because I can't really remember, but this arrived and it's just the collection of poems that she wrote and I really, really like it. Then I bought 2 more at the charity shop that I work at. I was trying not to buy any, but naturally I found 2. And the first one is How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran. I heard so many good things about this and I just really, really want to get around to read it. I really, really want to get around to reading it. Yeah, I'm not going to say a huge amount about the books because I have so many. And then the next one is Good Evening Mrs. Craven by Molly Panther Downs. It says The Wartime Stories of Molly Panther Downs. This is a Persephone Books one, but I found it in the charity shop, so I was like, oh, I'm going to get it. And I just thought it looks really, really interesting. Then I got Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and I'm desperate to read this. It looks so good. It's not even that long, so I'm hoping to read that this month. And yeah, it's a dystopian, and I love dystopians, but I like them more. I don't like them when there's action based. I like the more thought-provoking ones like 1984. I'm not a huge fan of YA dystopians as much as adult dystopians, and this looks so good. Finally, I have 2 more books which I got for review from Headline Publishing and Sceptra Publishing? Skepta? I don't know how you say that. And the first one is Conspiracy of Blood and Smoke by Anne Blankman, and I haven't read the first one yet and I haven't got it, but it is on order because I just think these look so good, and I didn't actually realise there was a first one despite the amount I've heard of it. I've only really heard about this second one, And so I requested it, and then I was like, oh, this is the first one. So that one's on order. They look so good, and I cannot wait to get around to reading them. And then the second one I got was The Chimes by Anna Smale? I think it's Smell. And this again is a dystopian, and it looks so good, and I can't wait to get around to reading it at some point. Moving on, I'm going to go through my Christmas books that I got. I'm going to start with the ones from my parents and then move on to the family members. First of all, from my parents, I got The Elements of Style by William Strunk Jr. and E.B. White. It's just like a writing book which tells, like, gives advice to writers, and I've heard like it's really popular amongst writers, so I thought, well, I'd get it because I'm going to be studying English literature and creative writing next year and I want to write. Then I got All the Words Are Yours by Tyler Knott Gregson. I have Chasers of the Light and I absolutely adore it. It's like my favourite poetry book I own at the moment. And I don't normally like haiku, but his are just, oh my god. If you want to read some poetry but you're not sure what to read, I recommend Tyler Knott Gregson. He's so good and I just can't recommend him enough. Then I got Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. I don't want to say like massive amounts because the number of books. Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. This again is so short and it looks really quick. I think it's his real letters that he wrote to someone, but it looks really good, so I'm going to read that. Then I got Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, because I've got the first and the third one, but I hadn't got the second, so I asked for the second. Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. I love Margaret Atwood's work. The last one from my parents is The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro, and I have read Never Let Me Go, and I liked it when I read it, and then we studied it at school, and I really didn't like English at GCSE very much, so I began to really dislike it, but I really liked his writing style, and this one looked really good, so I'm definitely going to give this a go. And now I'm going to move on to the books that my nan got me, well, my nan and granddad, and they got me 7, which was really generous of them. So yeah, I got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Casey, which I've heard really good things about. Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen. Mrs. Dalloway and To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I really want to read some of Virginia Woolf's work. And these are really short as well, although the writing in them is tiny, so it kind of balances out. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. And this one looks so good as well, and I can't wait to get around to that. A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. I had a lot of sort of adult books this year rather than young adult because I'm just more interested in those at the moment. Like, I really love YA and I love how quick they are to read and stuff, but I've got a lot of those to review and I've still got some that I haven't read yet. From my aunt and uncle and cousins, I got Possession by A.S. Byatt. I really like the cover of this book. It's really pretty. Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabrielle Garcia Marquez. I don't really know how you say that either. The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and I've wanted to read this for so long and I really can't wait to get around to reading this. Soundless by Rochelle Measy. I do have some YA. And yeah, everybody's reading this at the moment and I really like the sound of it. I have read the Vampire Academy series, but I've read all but the last one because I marathoned the others and the last one wasn't out. And it just took so long to like come out that I just kind of lost interest, although I do kind of want to reread it because everybody's going on about how amazing it is. So I don't really know. One more book that I got for Christmas from my parents, and I don't know how I forgot this one. Well, I do because it's on the floor because it's so big. And that is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the illustrated edition. This is my favourite Harry Potter book and it's just absolutely beautiful inside, and I saw it, I was like, Mom, please can you get me this for Christmas? And because Amazon and the book depository were doing it for £15 instead of £30, so that was a lot better than £30. But this is so gorgeous. Now moving on to the things I got for my birthday from my parents. I get a lot of money for my birthday because it's been so close to Christmas, so like my parents bought me some books but none of my family members just give me money that I spent on books. So the first one I got is A Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood. A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing by Amy McBride. I was recommended this by somebody I will be going to university with soon, and Flicking through it, it looks, well, not flicking through it, but reading the back, it looks so good and I can't wait to get around to it. And The Virgin Suicide by Jeffrey Eugenides. Middlemarch by George Eliot, which is like a brick. It's so big. And then the complete opposite thickness, which is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, which is like so thin. Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I loved Fangirl, like I read it over a year ago now. And this is just looks so good and I've heard so many great things about it and I cannot wait to read it. And then last but not least, as in terms of presents, was 1,000 Nights by E.K. Johnston, and this book is so pretty. I can't get over how pretty this book is, and I really wanted the hardcover edition because it's stunning. Like, look at it. Now moving on to the books I bought, and this is definitely the largest collection because I bought 26 books. So I'm going to start, well, I'm going to do them in reverse order to the order I bought them, just because that's how they're piled up on the floor. I actually went to Waterstones last because we were waiting to go to the restaurant that we booked the table for, and we were running out of things to do because we'd kind of like gone everywhere that we wanted to go, so we went to Waterstones and I bought one book, and that book is The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson, and this is signed, and I really wanted to get this book anyway, but it was signed. And that just made it better, so I had to get it. Now I'm going to show the books that I bought in foils first. I bought 3 of the Penguin Little Black Classics, and I bought The Great Brindlebury Jewel by Charles Dickens, Antigone by Sophocles, and The Night is Darkening Round Me by Emily Bronte. And I really like these Little Black Classics, and I don't aim to collect them all, but I'm just going to try and collect the ones that I really want, like the Dickens one for example, because I really like Charles Dickens at the moment. I have bought like a massive collection of poetry books whilst I was in foils because they have such a good collection, whereas like nowhere has a decent collection of poetry. So I kind of went a bit crazy, but it was all my money, so I don't really mind, to be honest. And the first one I got is Eating Fire by Margaret Atwood, which is like a collection of her poetry from 1965 to 1995. The Broken Word by Adam Folds. And when I'm looking at poetry books, like I'll pick them up and I'll have a look and read the back, and then I'll like flick through and read like a couple of the poems to see if I like the style and stuff. So all of these like I do know that I like. The Trouble with Poetry and Other Poems by Billy Collins. Paper Aeroplane by Simon Armitage, and this is like a selected poems version again. Happiness by Jack Underwood. Can I just say, this book was $10.99 and it is the thinnest book. Poetry books are so expensive and it really annoys me because you can get a novel for less with more words in. And like, I really appreciate poetry, but I think $10.99 for something that thin is quite ridiculous. 81 Austerities by Sam Riviere, which looked really good. The Don't Touch Garden by Kate Foley, and this is about adoption, I think. Frank O'Hara, Poems Retrieved, and I think this is just a collection again. Again, the girl that I will be going to uni with, she tweeted that she liked his poetry, and I thought, oh, I'll check it out, and I really liked it what I read, so I thought I'd buy a book of it. And then I got, from like the poetry criticism section, but it's not really criticism, it's kind of like a fun book, which I just thought, I was like, oh, that was good. And it's 52 Ways of Looking at a Poem by Ruth Padel, and it basically takes a poem and then gives you like an essay on it, but it's not a long essay, it's just like a couple of pages, page and a bit. So I just thought it looked really fun and great just to sit down and read like one of. And then I bought 4 novels from foils. Keep the Aspidistra Flying by George Orwell. I really like George Orwell's writing style. I've read 1984 and loved it, and I read Animal Farm, which I didn't love as much, but I read that was quite young and I didn't understand it great. But this looks so good. They had like a massive collection, but this is the one I like the look of best, so I really want to get around to this soon. And then I got Slade House by David Mitchell, and this was on offer for half price, and it's like a really small little book, but I really like it, and it just looks really interesting. So I really wanted to read some of David Mitchell's books, but I didn't really know which one, but this one was on offer, and it just looked really interesting and intriguing. It looks kind of scary, but not scary, so we'll see. And I got Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, because I've never read this book. And then I got The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. Finally, I bought 9 books from Persephone Books, and so Flush of Biography by Virginia Woolf. And I don't know why I'm holding the books, they all look the same. And it's got this in paper. A Writer's Diary, Being being extracts from the diary of Virginia Woolf. I'm going to show you the end papers because they're more interesting than the cover. Tea with Mr. Rochester by Frances Towers. My Mum, What Are We Called Now by Jacqueline Menslamar. Little Boy Lost by Margarita Lasky. The Making of the Marchioness by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I love A Little Princess. Consider the Years by Virginia Graham. Amours de Voyage by Arthur Hugh Clow. And Operation Heartbreak by Duff Cooper. I know I have an excessive number of books to read, but I will definitely be trying to get around to them, as many of them as possible, like in the near future, because I honestly like look at them and just like I don't know which one to pick because I want to read them all. I'm sorry for being away for so long, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do like a video a week or whatever, how I wanted to try to do it, but I think I'm going to try and do like a video every 2 weeks, or just put them up whenever I get a chance to make them, really. I'm more regular like on my blog because I find that easier to like space out when I do it and stuff. So if you want to hear more like on my thoughts on books and stuff, you can, and keep up with me reading, you can either follow me on Goodreads, but I don't really review on there, or follow my blog, which I will leave links to both down below, and then obviously follow me on the Instagram, Twitter. If you've read any of these books, please let me know because I really can't decide what to read next. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!